Hi guys. I am in my pajamas. But I had a couple of requests that to continue doing these videos, um, to share awareness and just show other people that um, it's okay to not be okay. Today I actually wanted to talk about just because I've been thinking a lot about the borderline personality disorder. So I went through um, when I got diagnosed. I have all of the symptoms for to be diagnosed with borderline. And so I wanted to tell them to you and then put an example for my life, what would happen with a symptom that, or in the past, or right now, or whatever. So the first one is intense feelings of abandonment. So for me, growing up with not really having anybody there, I felt like everybody abandoned me. It was just a constant battle. Um, my dad abandoned me when I went into foster care. He up and left because he couldn't handle me deciding not to go with him. Even when I lived with him, there was abandonment problems because um, he wasn't really even there, and people that came into my life that I thought, like, could protect me or make me feel safe would end up leaving. So, and then as I got older, I went into this foster family, and um, I really thought that they were going to be my family for the rest of my life. That is not the case. Things didn't go down the way that I would have liked. I had a baby at 16 who they have adopted and raised, but then they just, because of my mental illness and the way that at that time, I didn't know that it was borderline, because then I would have dealt with it differently than the way that I did. But I ended up, because I was so scared of abandonment, I would make problems up in my head to say that they're going to abandon me. So then I just would stop going over there. I felt like she was taking my child away from me, even though I gave her um, her gave my daughter to her to raise, because I knew I was not able to do it mentally at all, to be a mom at 16 years old. And then as I got older, I had just one person after the other. I would have friends come and go. But again, it was, even though abandonment is our one of our biggest things for borderline, a lot of the time, for me at least, is I've made these abandonment problems. Like I would make something up in my head to say that they're going to leave me, so I would leave them first so that they would not leave me. And then the second one is um, unstable or intense interpersonal relationships. So a lot of the time, you have a favorite person, which is FP, and you become like obsessed with them, and you have to be with them at all the time. And if they're not, then you think you're doing something wrong. You constantly have to call, ask them for validation in your relationship to see that, you know, they're going to be there and they're not going to leave you. And I've had a few of them. I can name off four right off at the top of my head where I was with them probably pretty much every day, doing everything together. And I would, and if they got another friend, or they were hanging out with another friend, I would feel like they were going to abandon me. And I would feel like they weren't my friend if they weren't with me all the time. So I have a hard time. I know I have friends and who look at me as their friend, but for me, it is very difficult. I'm getting better at it, But if I'm not with them every day and I don't hang out with them all the time, or if, I don't really talk to them all the time, in my mind I'm like, they're not my friend, they're just like an acquaintance. But that's not the case. That is not how real life is. I know this. I have a friend on the top of my head who is my friend, and we don't talk every day. We don't hang out every day. We see each other at school, or we'll make times to get together, but she is my friend. But in like that side, that borderline part of the brain, or whatever you want to say, saying no, she's not your friend because she's not with you every day. She doesn't hang out with you, and you guys don't talk every day. But I know she's my friend. And so she would be my friend. I do have a favorite person right now, and that would be um, my ex, who I just broke up with, and just because he's there still, and he hasn't left, he hasn't abandoned me, and I've pretty much with him every day. At some point, I have to constantly talk to him, and if he doesn't message me back, I get angry. I'm like, oh my god, he's not going to talk to me again. He's going to leave. He's going to find somebody else already. I'm afraid, if he gets a girlfriend, I'm not going to be anybody to him. That's how our brains think for these intense interpersonal relationships. The other one is self-image. We have such a huge, it's basic for everybody, but I can look at myself and I just don't see, I've I just don't think that I'm good enough. I am ugly. Even if I've worked out a lot of, issue. I don't know. I can't even talk much on it because I have so little self-confidence in who I am as a person. I'm so confused half the time. Half the time I'm like, this is the person I am, like this person who's got this light about them. People are attracted to me, I inspire people, I motivate people, I'm like, I have these big plans for my future, and I see the world differently. But then I have this other part of me that says, you're nothing. You're not going to be anything. You're lying to yourself. You are going to fail. You aren't going to have this big life. You're going to be what you've been told your whole life that you're going to be. You're going to be nothing. So that I fight with myself every single day. Every single day I will get a thought that says, you're not good enough. Like, nobody's going to want to be with you. Nobody's want to be your friend because you're too much problems. You're too much to deal with. But then, on the other side, I'm like, but I've been through so much. I believe in change. I know that people can change, and I believe I'm a good person. So that self-image is huge. It's like there's two of us. I call my other half the monster, because also when we get down, the intense anger that you get because you're thinking of these things. The other one is impulsivity, which spending money, having unsafe sex, so substance abuse, binge eating. I do, or at least I used to. I did all of that. I have a really hard time still not spending my money. I want to spend my money all the time. As soon as I get it, I just want to spend it all. Especially if I'm feeling down. If I'm not feeling good about myself, I just want to go and spend my money, whether it's on me or other people. I will spend a bunch of money on other people, or go and get $400 worth of groceries that I do not need when I live with my daughter and my son part-time. I do not need that much groceries. And I could do that a couple times a month. And back in the day when I drank, I had an alcohol problem. I grew up with alcohol, so I turned to drinking, and I drank a lot. I could drink a 40 in a night, plus go out to the bar and still drink a whole bunch, and come back and still drink a whole bunch. And which also goes with the sex. I had dangerous sex, or I forget the word, but unsafe, meaning I'm surprised that nothing bad, thank God, nothing bad has ever happened to me, because I will black out sometimes when I used to drink, black out and have sex with people. And I guess back then people called me a slut, and I liked sleeping with people's boyfriends at the time. And this is pretty personal. This is a big deal. Um, so I just want to put that out there, that I don't want no judgment or whatever. That was the old me. I have not done that in over 2.5 years. None of the substance and the sex. I have not done that. I've been with one person for 2 years, and before that I wasn't sleeping around for a year, for 14 months. So I haven't, it's been over 3 years that I have not done that. So just want to put that out there. um, and binge eating, that's something that I still deal with on a daily basis. I turn to food when I'm not feeling good about myself, or if I'm depressed, or my even if I'm feeling really, really good, I will binge eat, and I will binge eat lots of carbs. I have controlled that most. I'm pretty good at controlling that right now, just because I'm watching my weight. Actually, I think I'm coming a little bit obsessed with my weight. Um, that may not be healthy, or may not, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Another behavior is, or di- what what you need to be diagnosed is self-harming behavior and suicidal behavior. So people seem to think that people who self-harm want to kill themselves, or that they have suicidal behavior. Actually, most people with borderline actually don't want to kill themselves. They would just want help. They want people to know that they are hurting and they need help. They want somebody to be there for them, with knowing all of this stuff, and just be there for them. That's all we want. I struggle with self-harm behavior. I don't so much. I've thought about suicide plenty of times, where I've, think it out in my head, but I personally do not think that I would ever do that, or at least I hope I would never ever do that. I have children to live for, and I have other people like you, and people who don't know me, to say that she got through this. She has these problems, but she got through it. Um, the self-harming, it's not just cutting, it's also burning. So I used to sit in the bathtub with the only hot water on. So it would be like blistering hot water on my feet. I needed it on my feet. The feeling I got from it was, it released something. But then eventually that wasn't enough for me to release, and became self-harming behavior. Um, the next one is intense episodic episodic episode, irritability or anxiety, usually lasting a few hours or a few days. So this is when I feel like I have my episodes. Um, I'm like super, either really irritable, where I'm like way up here, like every single thing irritates me, like, it is really intense. It's to the point where like I'm irritating myself, and the anxiety. So I'm on medication for my anxiety, because it can get pretty bad. Both of those together combined will make me feel like I'm going crazy. And this is when the monster comes out because I can't even handle, like, I become mean to people. Even if they're trying to help me, I can't even see that past there. It's like, so in your brain, you have your logical mind and you have your emotional mind. Most people, typical people, or not normal, because I don't believe in normal, but they'll stay in the middle. They can stay in the middle of being rational and logical and being emotional. They can stay in the middle. For me, it is very difficult. People with borderline, it is very difficult to stay in the middle. You either all emotion or all logic and rationale. So when you have the irritability and you have the anxiety, usually get stuck to one or the other. I usually get stuck to the actually it's pretty back and forth. So when I get stuck on the rational logical side, I've become where I have like no emotion at all. Like I have like it is blocked right off. I can't even get to it. Or I am so emotional that I can't see anything rational or logical. Um, and for me, they say a last could last a few days. I think when they say that, because I feel like it lasts weeks. It could last like 4 weeks, but I have breaks in between those times. So if I say it lasts for a month, in that time, every week there's at least 2 days that I'm okay. I have become like really high. Like my emotions are either really high or really, really low. Um, so with that, that is hard because that is something that I struggle with every single day too. I struggle with all these every day. So, but that is either I'm high or I'm really low. It is very, I feel uncomfortable in the middle. I've tried to be in the middle. I have been in the middle, but it gets to a point where I'm uncomfortable. Um, the other one is chronic feeling of emptiness. So for me, I will feel like I have nothing to live for. I really try to stay away from this. It is really hard. You have to the coping mechanisms that I've learned in, you know, my managing powerful emotions group for the DBT group, that I try to, because when I feel this way is when I am scared about taking my own life. I'm scared of not caring about a single friggin' thing. Like I just feel so empty and so numb that it's a really hard place to be. And I do not like being there. The next one is uncontrollable anger, intense anger. So when the intense episodes of irritability and anxiety, well, also comes the anger, and that's when I talk about the really high or really low. If I'm really low, I can get angry so quick like that. And like this is where bipolar gets mixed up with borderline. A lot of people get misdiagnosed because borderline and bipolar are similar in that sense, where you can it can just happen like that. And when it happens, it happens. Like I can get when I get angry, I have a hard time coming down from that anger. And I could be angry for a really long time. Well, I feel like it lasts forever. Um, but the thing with bipolar, I'm not, 100% sure, but they don't have the abandonment problems or the intense interpersonal relationships or the self-image. I mean, they have the impulsivity, that spending money, doing things like that people are like, what are you doing? Oh my God, are you crazy? Um, and stuff like that. Um, and so, yeah, but they're different, very, very different. And severe dissociation symptoms. So I find myself doing this a lot when I'm um, going through an episode. Is that I'm in class, and half the time when I'm like this, and this has happened in the last couple months, where I don't even remember. Even I can't even remember what I've done in class. I don't even know what we did or what we talked about, and it's just like over my head. Or I take myself out of. I Parenting is really hard when it comes to this, because you're just doing things because it's habit, and but I just get so disassociated from my life. And just so you know, like, talking about this stuff is it's like triggering a little bit, but there's also another thing, splitting or black and white thinking. We are really bad for this. I am really bad for this. All or nothing. It's either you're my best friend or you're nobody. It's either all bad or you're all good. Or you know, it is probably one of my harder things, because I need to be more in the middle when it comes to the all or nothing, because that's how you end up not having lots of relationships. My kids have learned some of my behaviors for all or nothing or black and white thinking. I um, I I struggle a lot with it. I'm trying to get better at it, um, but it's pretty difficult. But those are the symptoms that you get when you have borderline personality disorder. And this is why we got the stigma, is that you're crazy. You just want attention. You um, just want drama all the time. You want to, you know, you need to have a chaotic life or you can't live. Those things are not true. I I wish I had none of these. I wish I had none of these symptoms. I wish that a pill could take it away. Medication takes this away. I'm on medication for my anxiety because I have a hard time. Um, when my anxiety is high, all of these other symptoms are intensified by 10 or 20. Like, it is not good. I end up not, I'm unable to actually live my life because it's affecting it so much. So my anxiety, so I'm on medication for my anxiety, but you actually need to do the DBT for these symptoms to come down significantly, or where they aren't apparent anymore. Like, so, but the day program is 3 days a week, and it's I can't do it while I'm in school because I think it's 5 hours a day for those 3 days, and it's a long process and it's pretty intensive. So if you're doing anything else, I mean, when you have high emotions, like someone with borderline personality disorder, you get exhausted really, whether you're up or high, or up on a high or on a low. It is very exhausting. Even trying to be in the middle is exhausting. It's just exhausting all the time. I'm tired most of the time. Even if I've slept a really good night, I'm still exhausted if I have these symptoms. Um, so, um, but there is things that you could do. I have, in my last video, I said some tools. So about the journaling, some coloring, some drawing, uh, listening to music, anything like that to keep. So when when your emotions, when you cannot, um, regulate your emotions, because with BPD, it is very difficult to regulate your emotions once they're really high or really low, and either or, like it's just not, it's really difficult. Like it's like you get stuck there and you feel like that's where your life is going to end. Like it's right there. So I started doing some drawing, and um, I've never done it before. I'm, like I said in my last video, I'm not creative. I didn't think I was creative, but I started putting my emotions and my feelings when I'm thinking too much on a piece of paper. And I'm going to show you some work that I've done. Like that. This is one of them. About me, the yin and yang, the black and white thinking, the balance, there's a lightning bolt because I feel like I'm a storm that sometimes I can't get out of. Beautifully broken. I know like some people might take that as a negative thing, but I don't, because it's not that I feel like I'm broken. I just feel like all my pieces aren't there. So, and I love this kind of work, like this kind of art. So I did this. I just started one. I'm not done it yet, but it is this one. I think that this is going to be a really good one. I'm pretty excited about it. I've done like this one, and but that's my new thing. I bought a new book because the book reading is really good to keep your mind occupied. Is this book? I showed it in the last one. Also, doing anything online. There are so much things, like journaling is really good. Writing down when your feelings are really high. And I believe that 100% that we can get better. I believe that borderline personality is not a death sentence. It doesn't have to be. Most people, though, with borderline, because of the stigma behind it, some people are really negative and think that we're nothing but attention seeking, drama queens, drama crazy people. And I believe that I'm not that person. A personality disorder, just because it says personality disorder, does not mean that that's who you are. People change. People change every single day. So these can change with the help, with the DBT, with counseling, with medication, with supportive people. This can change. You can become the person that you've always wanted to become. It just takes a lot of work. It's not going to be overnight. It could take 2, 3, 4, 5 years before your symptoms aren't there or are, hidden or whatever. But it takes a lot of work, and you have to want to do the work. If you don't want to do the work and you want to be lazy, then no, you're not going to get better. These will just keep coming up and down, and you're going to do this roller coaster that's going whoosh. And I've been there. I did it for years and years and years. I probably got borderline when I was, a teenager, when I was 13, 14 years old. Probably when I started it. Could have been even earlier, because it is also genetic. So it's in my genes. And so I just want to put it there, like, just because you have these symptoms and because they can be pretty intense does not mean you're crazy and that this can't end and that you can't get better, because I believe that everybody has a choice, and a choice to get better or a choice not to get better. I want to get better. That's my choice. And I have plans for my future, and I know that people are there for me. Just, I just need a little bit extra push and extra help when it comes to figuring out that people aren't just there to abandon me, or, that I can live a life normally if I push myself. So I believe in all of you. I was just talking about school the other day, and I had somebody said a comment about giving up or not deserving. We believe that, with me, I believe a lot of the thoughts that I have to fight every day is deserving to be in school. I don't think that I'm very smart. No, this is the self-image stuff. So I know that I'm not the smartest person out there, but I know what I'm talking about when I am talking about it. Sometimes I don't, and I feel stupid. And I grew up being called stupid all the time. Like, you're just so stupid. You don't even know what you're talking about. So a lot of the time I'll question myself when we're doing work, and I won't be somebody that puts up their hand to answer a question. In a group, I usually look to other people, and I was saying that a lot of the time there is a percentage that have borderline who end up quitting school because they just feel so stupid. They feel like they can't do it. They can't handle the stress, or they don't do so well in school, so that makes a impact on who they are as a person, and that they don't deserve that job because, or this education, because, well, they didn't know what, they failed a test, or they didn't get what they wanted on it. And I struggle with this every day. Right now, I am not happy about being in school. I want to quit so badly. I feel like I'm not smart enough. I feel like I'm not retaining the information, and I feel like, why be in school if I'm not learning anything? But I know I am learning stuff. It's that logical part of the brain and the emotional part of the brain, and it's very difficult when you're fighting, going back and forth. But I'm not going to quit. I'm going to fight like hell to get through this year. I have 2 months left. That's all I have. 2 months to just get through it, and you know show myself that I can do this, that I do deserve this, and that I can chase my dreams. So anyways, that is just a little bit of, well, the symptoms of borderline, and what I deal with, and what I've dealt with, and what I struggle with. And it's not an easy thing, but I'm human, and humans change regularly, and I have this, and I will get through it, and so will you. You guys, anybody that has a mental illness, you can get through this if you want to. You need to just push yourself and believe in yourself. Even if you have that little tiny belief, you just hang on to it, because that's what's going to get you through to the next day, and it's going to be a better day tomorrow. So you guys have yourself a good night. Thank you for listening, and I hope to inspire somebody else. All right. Good night, guys. Bye.